Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Find some green here, and today I want to talk to you about the game that we want, the game that we need, and the game that we deserve. Now, in the background, I've got the triple debut of Skeens, Ellie, and Gunner playing, and we're using the California boost mixed with the Dominican boost. It's actually a pretty fun team. Um, you'll get to see as the conversation goes on. But what I really want to touch on is the things that I think that would make MLB 25 one of the better games we've seen. I haven't played in a while. The rating's not that high. As you can see there, the boosts are pretty crazy. But let's get on into everything else. So I think one of the things they should do, we're going to break this down into content. We're going to break it down into quality of life, and we're going to break it down into gameplay. All right, so we're going to start off with the content aspect of it. And I think that this year, considering it's supposed to be a fan appreciation year, is basically what I got the gist of out of the Forbes article that was out there, is instead of it just being a get a gold player pack, when you play ranked seasons, they give you a get a gold player pack that has the possibility to reveal a diamond. I think it would be cool that maybe this year, after all these years, they finally put the get a gold plus player pack in the exchange. Now, they could potentially increase the cost slightly, which, I'm not crazy about because it's usually been a pretty decent way to make stubs. The alternate option would be that they could just add it. And, it may not be a very high chance. They could, I'm not saying it needs to be like the pull a million stub voucher that they hit us with this past year that I don't think anyone ever did. That guy had a good swing, though. That wasn't a great pitch. But it's something. It's something. It'll give you an excuse to do the exchanges. I know at the beginning of the year, a lot of people do the exchanges to get the golds when they're high, but it'd be a little sweeter if they gave us the opportunity to potentially get a diamond out of it. One of the big things that I really want to talk about is the captain situation. And I wish that they wouldn't have 8,000 captains like they've had these last couple of years. And they did say to keep an eye out for how the rest of 24 was going to go to give us an idea of what they were going to do in 25. So what I propose what they do with the captains is I think they should treat captains like evolution. And when I say that, consider going back to a power creep. If in the event that, let's say the high card when the game starts is like an 87 or an 89. Okay, you start your team captains off at like 86s, 85s, and you have certain thresholds and requirements in order to boost them up to the point where they're either 1 or 2 points ahead of what the high card is. And then when you get to that point, then it sits. And as the meta increases, or as the overalls increase, I should say, then you give additional requirements to do with each card, where it has to have a certain parallel level. It has to have the other things done in order to continue to increase it. But it keeps the card viable for the entire life of the game, right? Because you can go from 86 to 89 on the first drop, and then you can go from 89 to 92, 92 to 95, and then you go from 95 to 99, or if you want to do 95 to 97, 97 to 99, you get the idea. And then this way, those cards aren't really holding down your lineup. They're now cornerstones, which they really should be, considering they're a captain card, and they're a captain card anyway. Now, the alternate option, which I don't think they'll go for, excuse me, let me grab some water real quick. The alternate option that I don't think they'll go for is to remove captains and add managers. Now, I've been a proponent of this for quite a while. I think myself and a couple of the guys that I'm friends with, we were talking about this before they even released captain cards. The cool thing with manager cards would be, like for, say, Joe Torre. Okay, you could give him where he adds clutch and a pitching boost. That was a great swing by Bonzi. You could do Bobby Cox from the Braves. His would be pitching, or I guess you could do some sort of hitting boost there. The Braves usually were a good hitting team when he was manager, but you get the idea. And then they wouldn't be tied so much to players from the specific team, but they would just boost the players that are on your team at the time. That way you're not stuck with having to play with just specific players. Again, I don't think it's something that they'll do, but it's something they could potentially try. You guys have any suggestions as to other types of content they should add? Please comment down below. Share your thoughts. Moving on, we're going to get into I guess this is still considered content. It's kind of considered gameplay. Online stale, for lack of a better term. It's ranked seasons, it's BR, it's events. They need something. They need something else. And I know we briefly touched on it last year, and they really didn't do anything. But we're going to try it again. So the first thing that I'm going to propose is there needs to be more than one event page. And when I say that, you can have your standard 2-week event that you always run, right? Because I don't think people really have a problem with that, and the allotted time seems to work out well for everybody. For most people. If the rewards aren't good in events, once I get to the point where I've collected the live series collection, I don't particularly bother with them. There has to be a card that I actually want. And because of the fact that they do the rewind packs and they make them no-sell, there's really not a lot of incentive to grind all the way out to 20, 30 wins in order to get cards. I'd rather just wait for the rewind pack to hit because it doesn't particularly matter to me. With that said, the first thing I propose is the Sunday night baseball event. I can remember as a kid watching Sunday night baseball with my grandfather. It's their game of the week. It's the biggest game on the schedule for the week. And they already make events occasionally on like the Mexico series or was it the Soul series? Or whatever series it was this year. They should do a weekly one. Sunday night event, let it last for a couple days. And then just, it only has to be one card. They could even make it a mystery card based on whoever they deem to be the MVP for the night. It would give people a reason to watch baseball on Sunday nights. It would give us a different type of event to do where it's more of a limited card because it's a shorter time frame. And it'd be cool because right now the event's kind of stale. I wish they would bring back an online franchise. This is not Diamond Dynasty related, but an online franchise would be awesome. An online franchise is seriously lacking. If College Football 25 coming back this year showed us nothing else, is that people are hungry to build dynasties. And when I say that, I'm in a group of like 10 guys. It might be 8 guys. I don't remember exactly how many people we have at this point. But we're in like year 2033 or 2034. It's been fantastic. Between the recruiting and then the off-season transfer portal and the rivalry games and the college football playoff, it's added a whole bunch. And it's February and we're still playing. It'd be great to put together a baseball dynasty where you go through the scouting and drafting and then the actual free agency where you're bidding against your friends. It's seriously lacking, right? Or maybe I decided that I want to be the Oakland Athletics guy, right? And I've decided that obviously not, they're not going to be the Oakland Athletics anymore, but you get the gist of it. I'm taking some no-name, or not a no-name team, but a team that's in the damn basement that is a perennial loser because they don't spend money. Right, I have like 1 or 2 showpieces. And my friend Bob, he needs a big right-handed bat. So I'm willing to trade him Brett Rooker, but I want his 2 best prospects. Right, and now I get to go through and see how they develop and if they can. That's a fantastic swing by Yelich. I love that Yelich card. To see how they pan out. Or maybe I turn around and trade them 3 years later to get more prospects, because that's all they ever want to do anyway. But at least give us something. They really need to give us something. Now, another thing that I propose, we're going back to events, is an extra inning event game. All right, extra inning event game makes it 1 inning games. Right, you would hope that somebody scores in 1 inning, but it'd be a 1 inning game. And you can still have the same win requirements. I'm asking this guy for a friendly quick because I realize it's too damn late and I really don't feel like playing it. I'm winning 3-0, but he automatically declined it, which was unfortunate. But with that said, the 3 inning, instead of it being a 3 inning game, it should be a 1 inning game. You can still keep it at 20 wins or 30 wins or however you want to do it. Please don't increase the wins. This is supposed to be something where we get through it fast and furious and people don't feel like it's a grind like it usually is. But just something different. You could potentially even make it where, I mean, I would hate to say it, but you could even put quick counts on it if you really felt the need to. Maybe not, but you could. Technically, you could. A greater variety of event games would be great, even if they just stuck with the original events they have now. Most of the events this year just felt like ranked seasons, for the most part. I think the nice swing, man. I think one of the funnest events I played all season was probably when they had us use the Negro League cards, and then I want to say it was like Cardinals and somebody. It was fun for a couple of reasons. One, the card prices in the market shot up a bit. So if you were able to get in on a whole bunch of these cards before everyone realized what the requirements were, you had a chance to make a shit ton of stubs, which is always good because we always like to make stubs. We don't like to buy stubs here. The only time you buy stubs at all is really just at the beginning of the season, just to get a jump. And that's usually just opening night. And then we call it a day. But it was nice to be able to make stubs. But it was nice to use... I don't want it to be like crazy lineup restrictions. Right? But it was nice to get a different variety of cards. Like, I realized playing that event that Hank Thompson, which I had never used before, is one of my favorite players to use in this game. I think throughout the course of the events and when I used them in my ranked seasons lineup for the time that I did use him, I'm hitting close to 600 with him. It may have been 550. I just know it was exceptionally high. That was a terrible pitch by me. I missed my pinpoint. Great swing by him. Well, he declined my friendly quit even though I was winning, and now it's 3-2. With that said, yeah, Hank Thompson was hands down one of my favorite cards to use. Absolutely wonderful. But yeah, having them set a little bit more of a restricted lineup. I know people used to complain about in the past, especially when it was like bronze pitchers and silver hitters, or guys with high contact, low power, or high power, low contact. Or, nobody wanted to play games with silver cards on Hall of Fame difficulty back in, I want to say it was like 19 or 2020 or 18 or whenever the hell they decided to do that, because there were a couple that were like, they were hell events, without a doubt. But they could do something to at least change it up a little bit. Maybe give us more than one game on Hall of Fame for the entire life cycle. I know Hall of Fame's not for everybody, but the only way you get better is if you actually play on other difficulties besides what you just are usually accustomed to. If you don't push yourself, then you can't improve. So there's always that. With that said, switching over to more of the gameplay, they need to make contact hitters. Adalberto Mondesi is my favorite card this year. I will miss him when we move over to 25. I don't know if we'll ever get a card like this again. But between him being parallel 5, them making him a 99, and then him getting I believe it was the Dominican boost, he's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. If you're not using him, you should be. Now, yeah, they need to make contact hitters viable again. Tony Gwynn hasn't been a usable card since 2019. I don't think it's going to happen, even though they're moving over to the next gen. or I guess at this point it's 4 or 5 years since the PlayStation 5 got released, so you could potentially call it current gen. They're still staying on the old hitting engine. And if they're staying on the old hitting engine, that means that they don't know how to fix topspin. And it means that it's going to continue with their stupid shit they got in the little handbook where it says that, contact hitters are going to make more contact. But hit fly balls, they probably won't get rewarded. So, your guys like Ichiro, if he comes back, and your guys like Tony Gwynn, are probably going to just sit on people's benches, or not even benches. They're just going to be in the binder because there's no real reason to use them. They're in like that middle ground of no man's land when they have that 60 power. Okay? You can get by with guys like D. Gordon, and I think it's Nico Horner, who have like 30 something power. Because they hit it just soft enough, even when you're using normal swing, that it dinks over the infield. And that's fine. But for your true contact hitters, it's still a problem. And it's going to continue to be a problem. And I don't quite know how else to describe it. It just is what it is. And Ketel Marte's a clutch. This guy loves his changeup. He loves his changeup. He loves his cutter. I've been a little bit early on the cutters where I keep fouling him off, but maybe we'll tag one of them eventually. But hey, we're up 5-2 now. Again, game doesn't mean much. There's another one of those cutters, and it's the end of the year. Difficulty's not overly high. It's just 3 cards they gave us, and just to have something in the background. That actually wasn't a bad swing that I really didn't get any reward for whatsoever. But it is what it is. With that said, they need to make strike zone a little bit more accurate. I like to pitch, as you watch the video, if you have been, I like to pitch on the black, right? I love to pitch around the corners. I try to stay out of the slam zones, but I'd like to be like, see, it's right on the edge, right? And that one's right down the dick, but it is what it is. Not exactly the best time to be saying how I like to stay out of the strike zone as I throw it almost down the middle. But anybody who's played this game this year, and I know, that a lot of that's hopefully going foul. Yes, okay. A lot of pitches that touch the corners, or they're not called strikes, hardly ever. It's made it to the point where the higher up in difficulty you get, people just sit there. They don't swing at anything that's on the edges, because 99% of the time it's going to be called ball. And they can sit there and they can wait till you throw something that's actually in the heart of the plate because you need to throw a strike. And yeah, it's not fun. It's kind of obnoxious, actually. Like I really, it's one of my biggest complaints is the fact that there'll be a lot of pitches through the course of a game that are strikes, and then I'm wasting stamina, and I'm putting myself in situations where I'm having to pitch harder and try to fool the guy who's playing against me more than I should have to. Like, I caught him looking on a pitch that caught, a decent chunk of the corner, and the ump's just awful. Now, I'm not asking for it to be like 2K, back when, I want to say it was like 2008, where 2K had the umpires, you had to find what the strike zone was. It was a really cool concept. And I definitely enjoyed it when I was playing, but I could see how with online play it would be exceptionally frustrating. So I'm not asking for that. All I'm asking for is if a ball touches the black, call it a damn strike. I don't need real life tendencies, but if you don't want to go the whole way, at least if a quarter of it. That was a great pitch. I would love it if at any point while we're talking about this, if it actually did what I'm saying, because I know what happens during this game. I just don't remember exactly where. But like I said, anybody who's played this year, you know what I'm talking about, because you've experienced it too. Now, piggybacking on this, they need to fix foul balls. If you're not going to give us a proper strike zone, you can't additionally make it where players get 13 pitches in at bat. Right? And this is really more for the event games and the BR games, especially because the pitcher stamina is so slow and evaporates so quickly. I should say so low and evaporates so quickly. You know, there are certain guys you bring in, and in 7 pitches, they're already in the yellow. By the time they get to pitch 12, they're in the red. And they've only gone through a batter and a half, 2 batter stops. It's kind of frustrating. You know, I'm hoping that they fix both, or they fix one of the two, at least one of the two. Just missed. You know, so with that said, the next thing, they need to figure out, for the love of God, how to make your stats count when the opponent dashboards you. Between your online missions that are required and the fact that you're paralleling your cards, just early. It'd be nice if the stats actually counted. I don't understand why people still dashboard. I especially don't understand why people still dashboard late in the year. But it's a thing, and it's obnoxious. Now, on top of that, can we please try to make two-seam fastballs mimic what they do in real life? Like, I've literally seen videos from Pitching Ninja, right, and other videos online, or on X or Twitter, or whatever you're calling it nowadays, where the guy throws a two-seamer, it's got 18 inches of run. It's a 1.5 feet. Two-seamers in this game hardly move at all. They, you know, if you made it where the two-seamers actually moved, that damn cutter, if you made it where two-seamers, I think McCann had like 3 foul home runs this game. And then I just missed that one. Yeah, if you made it where two-seamers actually had the proper amount of run they really do in real life, then maybe it wouldn't just be the sinker cutter meta. It would be really, really cool to have something different. Right, because the sinker's kind of got like that bowing action, and it moves, it definitely moves. But it'd be really, really, really nice to have something where it still gets, it shouldn't be the same type of movement. But I know when I took 21 off, when I came back and played 22, it seemed like the two-seam had a little bit of movement to it. And then as we got through 22 and into 23 and then through 24, two-seams kind of just, I don't know, they don't feel good. I don't feel great throwing it. You can get away with throwing Randy's because of the speed differential, where people will be out front because they're expecting the 103 and it only comes in at 98. But it'd be nice, you know. I also would like it if they make curveballs a little bit more viable. Like, they changed the pitching motion on pinpoint, but I wouldn't say they've been exceptional this year. You know. With that said, yeah, I mean, pinpoint's whatever. It was okay this year. It won't ever be as good as it was when they first released it. I'm convinced of that. But it wasn't terrible this year. You know, moving on. Quality of life. I hope they fix the app this year. I say that, I don't know if everyone experienced it, but for me personally, I know some other people, you couldn't buy any packs using the app. It wasn't an option. I could see the packs. I could hit purchase, and then there goes Mondesi again. That's 3. That's 3. Now, granted, he threw a cutter down the dick, and I think all 3 of his home runs were down the dick. But, you know, it's a lower difficulty, so I'm not going to say that I'm hot right now. But I just hit exceptionally well with his card. You know. Comment down below if you're still listening. You tell me, what's your favorite card you used this year? What's the card you wish that you would have used more of this year? And which card you'll probably never use again because you couldn't stand it? Right now, I enjoy the Tim Salmon boost, but he is quickly rising up the ranks to a card I don't want to use. With that said, yeah, hopefully they fix the app where you can actually buy packs through it, and you know, be able to open things when content gets released. I don't mind waiting to turn on the system, but if I'm at work and I get a 15-minute break, and, you know, they release their content, I would love to be able to do things, you know, in real time instead of having to wait. That'd be nice. I'm also hoping that they figure out how to fix their logo glitch. It really seems quite simple enough. All they have to do is make sure they don't load any logos into your homepage. When the game starts, like if you look at the guy that I'm playing, that logo is from SDS. It's not something he put in there. That's a nice swing by him. That's not something that he put in there. Okay, that came standard with everybody. And for a lot of guys, they load up their logos like they usually do, but there's a secondary like homepage where the logo gets uploaded that nobody really knew about. If you don't know, I'll link it at the end. I have a video on how to actually fix it so you can get your true logo up. Hopefully next year we won't need it, but if in the event we do, I'll just list it again. It's not that big a deal. Additionally, I'm really hoping they fix custom stadiums. You know, between the buggy stadiums where people put walls where they shouldn't be, if you didn't see it, you got lucky. If you did see it, hopefully you didn't have to experience it for too long. And if you're the one that did it, or anyone that mimicked it, well, you're just an asshole. But it is what it is. Yeah, people abusing those walls and, you know, exceptionally bad lighting and shadows, and then inappropriate activities beyond the outfield walls. I think everybody can agree that it needs a bit more attention. Like there were things going on with custom stadiums that I don't have words for it. You know, I know it's a joke and it is what it is, but it got out of hand again this year. I'm sure most of you would have seen it. Almost everybody lives on social media nowadays, so I'm sure you guys saw it on Twitter or X or whatever. But it's kind of crazy. So those are all the different things that I think would help to make the game better. Again, over the last couple of years, I know that a majority of the fan base has been leaving early. They have gotten rid of sets and seasons. They did release some graphics today, release photos of what the game's going to look like. It doesn't seem like it's going to be overly different. I'm not completely surprised by this. I'm sure it'll look a little bit crisper and a little bit cleaner. The game never looked bad to start. And you'll have to excuse this gameplay because it's in 720. I grabbed it off the PlayStation. I had an idea as I was playing to just throw this in the background. We talked about all the other stuff. But for the most part, it's not like the game isn't aesthetically pleasing. You know, the biggest problem is that because most of us play on either Strike Zone or Strike Zone High or potentially Strike Zone 2, and the fact that we're mostly playing in the minor league stadiums because of the overall lag, especially playing against people that are on last gen, that you don't get to really appreciate the stadiums for what they are, if that makes sense. You know, if you ever want to appreciate the graphics for what they are, what they can be, especially if you're on PlayStation 5 or the new Xbox, go into a game versus the computer, right? And pick, we'll say cores. Pick cores, do like 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock, right? Midsummer, so you're just getting a little bit of sunset. And just zoom out, right? Because you're not really there to play. But zoom out, put it on fisheye or one of those zoomed out cameras, and just look and appreciate what the game actually looks like. Because I'm telling you, it's not nearly as bad as everyone says. And I didn't hit that nearly as well as what I got rewarded for, but I'm okay with it. And now we're up 8-3. You know, as for Legends, everyone's looking for Bonds and everyone's looking for A-Rod. Legends are part of content. I just want them to freshen up how everything happens at this point. I'm hoping the power creep works out well for us. You know, like I said, the last couple of years between sets and seasons and, you know, MLB 24, the pack, because almost every decent card was in a pack. After following up MLB 23, where almost every decent card was in either a pack or a collection. It'd be nice to just enjoy the game and the content. That sucks. I was on that. I dropped my PCI. For some reason, I always have issues with Dominguez. But anyway, neither here nor there. Yeah, it looks like the now and later cards from the programs that we've got in this game that are supposed to carry over. That's going to be a nice start. I'm really hoping, even though they didn't do it last year, I'm hoping there's a tech test. I don't think there's going to be. I really don't think there's going to be. I hope they prove me wrong. But I have a strange suspicion that after they didn't do it last year, they're not going to do it this year because they don't want us to know they didn't really change anything. Because at the end of the day, I don't think they really changed anything. They just stopped producing it for the old consoles. That's probably going to be about it. Which is unfortunate. You know, almost unfortunate as this at bat. Because if I remember correctly, this entire at bat is just, yeah. So I hit 3 bombs with him, and then that was the worst looking at bat I had all game. And I think it's just because I was really amped up to try to hit 4 with him. And I completely shit the bed. But he can field, and he's fast as hell. So that's pretty much where I'm at. You know, if they want to say that it's supposed to be about the fans this year, they owe it to us to try to give us some sort of improvements that that make the game more enjoyable, and hopefully they don't increase the pack costs, and then they don't flood us with packs. You know, one of my key catchphrases this past year was always going to be, it was the 400K Friday. And I'm hoping that maybe this coming game cycle, it's not a 500K Friday. Maybe they get away from the 400K Friday. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, 400K Friday was you could buy between the 3 promos they were running and your 50 pack and your vault pack and your other pack. You literally could spend 400,000 stubs every Friday for the entire game cycle. It was kind of obnoxious, to say the least. And I know they're in they're in business to make money, and I don't have an issue with that. It was just quite a shock compared to their stance over the last couple of years to what they went to. And I'm hoping that they don't follow suit and stay in that same vein this coming year. It's nice to see, like I said, that sets and seasons are gone. It's a step in the right direction. I'm hoping they did more than just that, because if they didn't, I wouldn't be surprised if the fan base gets pissed off again and leaves early, because I know a whole bunch of people said that college football wasn't going to have a major impact. I've got guys that hadn't played football or hadn't looked at football in years, and they're playing college football. And newsflash, they're still having fun. It's February. I know, kind of crazy, right? But you know, I don't know what else to say. If you've made it this far, please consider leaving a like, clicking subscribe, and hitting the noti bell. It helps us defeat the algorithm and gets our content out to more people. Which, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is just inform. I finally tagged a cutter. It's about damn time. You know, I like sharing thoughts. I like having conversations. You guys are more than welcome to comment, ask any questions you want. If I can answer them, great. If I can't, I'll try to find you an answer. You know, most answers are going to be purely speculative, unless there's something that I can point to for a version of proof for you. But, you know, at the end of the day, knowledge is power. Whether it be game related or is that another one? That might be another one. Maybe, I don't remember. Yes, got it. So, but yeah, you know, game related, stub related, lineup related. Discord's got a whole bunch of different groups that you can go to and ask questions. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. The trailer comes out on the 4th. We will have some sort of reaction video talking about it. Hopefully we see a couple of legends. Like I said, this one, we're not really talking so much about the legends. This is just other things I hope they add, because adding in legends is just like an expected thing every year. It's not something that's an additional thing they're bringing. The other stuff that we talked about would be additional things they are bringing. I don't remember the exact movie, but the quote was basically adapt or die, right? And if somebody could comment down below what the movie was, because like I said, the name of it escapes me at the moment. Uh, that's, I know they don't have any competition right now, but they've been riding the same wave on the same structure with the same content for 2 seasons, right? And before that, it was the innings, and before that, well, yeah, it was the innings program. Before that, there was the Immortals, and there's this, and there's that, and they need to figure out something else. I don't know exactly how they're going to structure it, but I can tell you that it better be fresh. Oh, it better not just be one of those straight copy pasta jobs where they took everything that we loved from years prior and stuffed them all into one. Because just because we loved it back then doesn't mean we want to play the same thing over again now. Because I can tell you that I remember talking to the guys and be like, hey, we've done the innings programs now for 2 years in a row. What's next? Because this is dry and it's stale and I'm doing the same thing over and over again. I've collected every card and I've pretty much hit the pinnacle for that. So they need to figure out something else. And he is gone. 10-3 is the final. I think I hit a whole bunch of home runs, but not a whole bunch of hits. Again, it was a low-level game. I haven't really played much because why would you? And that's pretty much it. I appreciate the time, guys. Hopefully you made it this far. Until next time, have a good one.